Freestyle the news. Hey. Woo.
Have you been a good boy this year? Body.
Last call, I'm swinging to make them fast fall. Throw it off the board, I turn the ball to a glass jar. Fucking up the rules, or maybe that was a bad call. Losing all your currency, baby, they take it half off. I ain't really here for your album, I see some bad flaws. Curbed enthusiasm, that hoodie make for a bad call. Zach is with the rebels, the numbers ain't looking that strong. Kinda like the charity, baby, after the response. Scams likely, too pricey. Barely polished Last of Us type beat. Shut it all down, no retainer, fuck if they smiling. Body Google stores in a fortnight trying to price me. Hit the conference and fight me. Dicey. Watching cases at the edge of the court. Flee the state or watch a child die unless you abort. Take the choices, we gon' make you have the baby by force. Protect the man who writing dictator right into his lore and make it a law. BB and Biden, Offsett and Cardi. Relationship tensions, bill for the army. Climate agreements, the loopholes are costly. Conspiracy theorists, your Tesla recalling. And every TikTok is like, you wanna go shopping? Been looking spotty for Giuliani. Even the fucking hostage is mad about all the bombing. Friendly fire against them, this bitch is still fucking talking. Oh, listen to Marianne. Visit Israel. Oh, you got me. Put them on blast like I'm back in -1. Ukraine aid taking a backseat to impeachment buzz. Diddy catching so many cases, it's like they biting flubs. The videos about the completionist, fuck another one. Watch him running like a gymnast, talking shit up in a line until they find out who you isn't. Bitch, I'm different, check the reason. I'm everything that they made to flex. People care about it instead of what fucking Megan says. Oh, too soon? Oh, Megan, what happened to the culture war? And your career? Do you have another take on the completionist? Or Kanye? Hey, Megan, is Santa still white? By the way, if you're noticing the camera kind of looks extra nice, it's because I got a new lens. And I'm using my A7S III instead of my A7 III. You're not going to understand this camera speak unless you're really into cameras. I'm using my better camera because I got a brand new... I like cameras. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching Freestyle the News. If you like what you heard, please become the captain of a little-known New York precinct and mentor the most brash, aggressive like button there, but he's also the best like button there, and teach him everything you know about life, about the problems within the like button system, but also teach him how to be a better like button, how to live in service of the people he's trying to protect, as opposed to the system itself, which is used to constrain people, and over the course of multiple seasons almost getting canceled because apparently people have problems with like buttons. Actually, there's a reason they have a problem with like buttons, but these like buttons are good like buttons. And you know, at the end of it, you have formed a family, a unit that really believes in one another. And then leave a comment on your favorite bar. R.I.P. Andre Braugher. I was super shocked to hear that. I loved Brooklyn Nine-Nine watching it. What I loved about that show is that it's a cop show, but that's also critical, where the police need to be criticized, and at the same time shows them as fully fledged human beings. But at the same time, it's really funny and silly and goofy. And Chelsea Peretti's fucking hilarious. The Heist episodes, I highly recommend those. But yeah, R.I.P. Andre, you're definitely gonna be missed. An amazing actor and just human being. Before we get into this breakdown, I want to remind everybody, guys, this is the last traditional Freestyle the News of the year. We're going to be off next week for holiday break or Christmas break or whatever pisses off the people who want the war on Christmas most. But we're going to be off for that small period of time, and then we're going to come back at the end of the year for a Freestyle the Year. That's going to be really daunting, but I'm excited to tackle it. And leading up to that, we're going to release compilation episodes of Freestyle the News of every month in 2023 leading up to Freestyle the Year. So you're going to have all the January Freestyle the News, all the February Freestyle the News, just in case you want to watch a full month and see, hey, what the fuck happened there? I'm extremely excited for that. And last thing, we have a merch sale going on right now at TOOSOONCrew.com. We got 20% off with the code TOOSOONMAS. And if you're a member of Too Soon Crew, which is our patron service, we have secret videos, secret songs. I just uploaded one, a private Discord, a lot of really fun things, daily news recaps, and for the holiday season, 40% off. By the way, your first month is free. So sign up now, grab some of the new merch items. But okay, enough of me plugging. We got a lot to talk about. Let's jump in. But our first story is about the Completionist. And oh man, this is a heavy one. If you don't know who the Completionist is, he's a well-known YouTuber and streamer who's known for, hey, being a completionist, completing games on stream. Also, he runs an annual charity event called Indieland, where he streams and spotlights indie games, a lot of times with developers on the stream and other special guests, trying to raise money for the Open Hands Foundation, a foundation founded after his mother died of a very rare form of dementia. The foundation was aimed to try to raise funds for various different charities. All the subscriptions, all the bits, all the donations were meant to go to the Open Hand Foundation so they could help fund research on this very rare form of dementia. But investigative YouTuber Karl Jobst and Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers were tipped off and noticed that, hey, a lot of the money that Gerard, that's the completionist's real name, said was going into that foundation hadn't actually been donated to the places that he said it was going to be donated to. And after rifling through tons of documents and doing a lot of investigative work, they realized that the money was actually sitting in an account for 10 years, being subject to inflation and depreciation, and not actually donated or used as Gerard said it would be. Now, this caused a massive backlash to the completionists. It was a really damning piece, and both Karl and Mutahar followed it up with subsequent videos with seemingly radio silence from the completionists. Until earlier this week, Gerard dropped his response. Gerard explaining in the video that there are a bunch of technical reasons why the money was not donated, saying there's specific issues with the charity classification, saying that he finally has taken the steps and donated all the money, as well as stepped away from the Open Hand Foundation, taking accountability for some of the negligence, but at the same time pushing back at a lot of Karl and Mutahar's claims, saying that it was fraud, saying that him and the foundation are ready and welcome an audit, while at the same time kind of threatening both Karl and Mutahar with legal action, saying that what they've said is slanderous or defamation. On Twitter, there was almost immediate like, oh my gosh,
Gerard has been exonerated. Mutahar and Karl were farming for
drama.
But at the same time, there were some issues. Like, for example, he didn't show a single bank statement in his video at all. And multiple people felt there were still multiple discrepancies with some of the stuff that he had presented, all culminating in a response from both Mutahar and Jobst a few days ago. And the responses were even more damning the second time around. So these are both like hour-long fucking videos. They're very extensive, they're very exhaustive. I'm not gonna be able to go into all the detail I want to if I wanna get to any other stories, but I'll summarize some of the most important bits. One, even if Gerard did donate the money, it still sat in an account for 10 years and it depreciated quite a bit. Two, while it is like a little bit touchy to show bank statements, it's not hard for Gerard to cover up some of the personal information and just show where the money was and the money flow in general with bank statements. You can just go ask for that. Three, and this was from Jobst' video a few days ago, even if the money is finally donated, which I do think is a good thing, the bigger issue is that for 10 years, knowing the money was sitting in an account, knowing that you had indie developers front-facing, knowing that nothing had been donated, the completionist was claiming that he's the main funding partner for certain charities. He was presenting that this money was directly, immediately going to those charities, and his audience was donating. And even if that money wasn't touched, like even if he didn't directly touch that donation money, he's still getting subscriptions. He's still benefiting in some way from these streams, while those charities aren't immediately benefiting for 10 years. The fact that he's getting that short-term commission of awareness, public goodwill from the fact that it is a charity stream, relationships with developers and other people for his goodwill, while at the same time holding on to this money for such an extended period of time, that looks pretty bad, man. Because you are still misleading people in some way, shape, and or form, especially about a charity. Like, I don't doubt for a second that Gerard is passionate about dementia. I do believe that his mother's passing was tragic, and that is like a real motivator for him. But whether he's passionate or not is immaterial when you're presenting something that isn't really happening at that time. Does that make sense? Like, for 10 years, you have 10 separate chances to do that. Also, there are questions about the donations from a golf tournament, which some people really don't have any information on. It feels like Gerard just kind of slid that to the side. So listen, I've already talked about this a lot, but I want to say a couple things. Number one, I felt very uneasy about this story, and that's why I didn't cover it in a Zaid Talks. And I didn't know why I felt uneasy. Is it because I feel bad for Gerard? Is it because I feel somebody's acting in bad faith? Do I believe him or do I not believe him? That's not really what it is, because honestly, even after the evidence, I still have that same pit in my stomach. And I think the pit is, a lot of this issue is the fact that a charity did not get the money that they were supposed to get. And I feel like the crux of this story isn't this charity should get money and it's important that they get the money that they should have gotten, and more like,
let's fuck this guy up.
And granted, obviously, Gerard is a bad actor. He should face the consequences of those actions. And honestly, all bad actors who commit this kind of gross negligence with charitable funds obviously need to be rooted out and told to fuck off. But the mob mentality around it mostly seemed like it reveled in somebody's downfall as opposed to trying to seek justice for this charity to get the funds that they wanted. And I don't think that's Mutahar or Karl's fault, to be honest. Even though some people want to say that they were farming drama, Mutahar multiple times on X after his response and even after Karl's video mentioned that, hey, listen, the main thing this was about was a charity getting funds, and the fact that they got funds is the happy ending. Like, that's important. And the fact that he mentions that, it really does make me feel like he's not really doing it in bad faith. That's directly trying to remind people of the cause. But the internet is the internet, and I do want to say that when we're holding people accountable, we should also remember about serving justice to the people and the victims who were affected. And again, while that's me nitpicking, and I do think the money sitting in that account for 10 years is pretty fucked up, as well as some of the other parts of that story, I do think that what we can do as outside observers of this whole situation is maybe try to contribute where contributions were not made. That's just my take. What do you think about it? I'm really scared about saying that. I think people are gonna bite my head off on it. But I don't know, man. I remember when the Game of Thrones finale happened and that was like a giant shit show. And then people just took all of their anger and then just used that to support charities that each of the actors was passionate about. And that was such a good story. That was such a feel-good story. And that took over the news cycle instead of like, oh man, fuck season 8. That was like a huge part of like, well, look at all of these people doing these good things for society. Part of me is optimistic. I just wish that could happen again. Yeah, I'm a fucking sap. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. All right, let's move on. Wow, that was a fucking Bible length story. Oh my God, y'all, I have to tell you about this brand new Arzoba monitor right now in the TikTok shop. You gotta get it. Real quickly, this is something that happened earlier this month that we didn't really talk about. Earlier this month, the Mozilla Foundation published a damning report claiming that automakers had abused their privileges over user data, collecting personal data through your smartphone, through Bluetooth connections, when you send a text, your Google Maps data, with the report claiming it is the worst ever category they have reviewed for data privacy. The report went on to say that the automakers are more willing to sell that privacy data to data brokers, including biometric data like how much you blink or breathe or what your pulse is. And all of this is troubling even more so because you don't really have a choice. If you drive a modern car and you wirelessly connect to CarPlay, it's there. It's monitoring you as you drive. And more companies trading your data without your information has gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's very hard to remove that data from these data brokerages, which we've talked about in the past. And if you want to get your data back from all of these brokerages, you have to send each one of them individually letters saying, hey, I want my data taken down. You have to go through this whole process. Or you can use Incogni, the sponsor of today's show and a service I personally use as well. Listen, I've talked about it in the past, but prior to getting this whole job, my data was like severely compromised, right? It was extremely frustrating getting a bunch of junk mail, getting a bunch of random spam calls from my freaking area code. There was a point where somebody found the email that I had, figured out my Netflix account, and then added themselves to that account. Like, they didn't take it over, they just added a profile like, hey, I'm gonna be watching here. And that was just incredibly frustrating and terrifying, just having stuff that I had not shared with people out there. I am like really passionate about data privacy just in general. And I can tell you sincerely, since I've started using Incogni, which has been over the last 6 months, my experience with all of this stuff has seen a drastic improvement and just honestly peace of mind. And it was very, very easy to get all of this going. Incogni tracks down your data from data brokers and personally goes through that process to take your data off of those brokerages so you can have peace of mind and less of your private information out there. Here's my day one with Incogni when I signed up. And here's my current Incogni progress report. So if you are worried about your personal data, or you want to support the show, or your car is fucking spying on you, go to incogni.com/Tabani and enter in the code Tabani for 60% off. 60% off? Wow, that's almost as much as the percentage James Somerton plagiarizes things. I do trust the sponsor. I personally like pay out of pocket for them like every single month, and I am really happy with this service. So go to incogni.com/Tabani, enter in the code Tabani, and get some peace of mind. All right, back to the breakdown. All right, let's talk about some entertainment news to palate cleanse. So Godzilla Minus One continues to have this enormous cultural moment and impact. It's the latest film in the Godzilla series, and it feels like there's this huge shift of everybody just trying to watch this film because for the first time, it seems like, oh my God, the people stuff is as interesting as Godzilla blowing up everything. I've seen many people talk about, oh my God, I was actually scared for the people in this movie instead of being like, just finish up so I can watch the breath happen. Personally, I have not seen it. I was kind of a naysayer, but honestly, I really need to go out and check out Godzilla -1, but that's a big thing that's happening right now. If you have seen it, let me know what you think. Timothée Chalamet's Wonka raked in a pretty nice preview night. I don't know what the opening box office numbers are right now. If they come out before I'm done editing this, they'll be below, but it's shaping up to possibly be a pretty nice success story, and it's getting pretty decent reviews. A nice little surprise. I'm pretty surprised by it. I wasn't really like hype on a Willy Wonka prequel. Cardi B and Offsett have officially split up. If you want to check your clock real quickly, yes, it is 2023. This isn't a story that's happened like 4 or 5 times in every other year, but this seems a little bit more definitive than the other times that it has happened, and it does come after a long stretch of them being together and trying to work it out. But honestly, like, good for them. Hey, listen, you should live your best life. Don't stay in it just to stay in it. Live your best life. Again, guys, it's that Arzopa monitor right there in the TikTok shop. You gotta go get. Very quickly, and I didn't want to fucking talk about it, but I kind of gotta talk about it. Kanye West. So if you don't know, Kanye West has a new album that is coming out called Vultures, which looks like fucking Nazi propaganda. No, I'm sorry. That's unfair. He just drew inspiration for the album cover from a white supremacist group. No, that's not fair. There was a point in a viral rant that he just released where he says, Jesus, Hitler, yay. Is that unfair too? That's not fair. Sure, that's not fair. Right. There's a point where he wears a black KKK uniform. I can go on. Listen, I posted about this on Threads, and somebody came into my comments saying, oh, he never really praised like Nazis. And then the next day there was a rant released where he praised Nazis. Motherfuckers are tweeting all over TikTok like he didn't have that very public anti-Semitic downfall. And then the next day post another rant where he praises a guy named Adolf. Listen, this is my like ultimate take on it. Seriously, look, it's a free country. If you want to listen to Kanye's music, listen to his music, but take accountability for what you're doing. You don't think those things that are happening are as important as his music. That's what that means. Also, he's weaving in anti-Semitic shit into the lyrics. I saw a really good take by Anthony Fontano saying like, at a certain point when the artist is making the art about fucked up things, you separating the art from the artist doesn't really fucking work anymore. Why are you even listening to the art at that point? So yeah, Kanye West is a fucking clown. I don't really care about the Backstreet Boys sample. We live in the golden age of music. Listen to Run Back City. Fuck that guy. People are dying for this brand new Arzopa monitor on the TikTok shop. Oh my God, I'll never stop. I'm gonna be there every 3 scrolls. You think you can get rid of me? I'm like the clown from It or your student loans. I will always be there with a coupon for 30% off. Don't fuck with me. Couple more things, then we're gonna end. This has gone on really long. Twitch earlier this week changed their terms of service to allow artistic nudity on the platform to try to ease some of the restrictions so there would be more avenues and become more in line with the industry. And immediately that was a bad idea. People immediately took advantage and started posting like just full on nudity. Twitch didn't properly gate it, so it was very easy if you went under the art section to find really compromised imagery. And literally almost a day later, Twitch was like, hey, let's hold on, stop. And they walked back some of those rules and clarified others. Personally, I do agree with the idea that a lot of the content on Twitch already isn't for people who are 13 and under, with or without nudity. It's like, it's a space I feel for like 18-year-olds. And generally, I know from my experience as a 13-year-old once, age gates are a challenge, not a rule. A lot of 13-year-olds operate that way. I think the better idea is to have a healthy relationship with that content, because if you're exposed to it and you don't have a healthy relationship and how to interact with it and how to deal with it, you end up over-indexing on it, or it affects you in a negative way. I listened to Eminem, played Grand Theft Auto and Metal Gear Solid and Mortal Kombat. I consumed a lot of crazy shit growing up, but I'm pretty well adjusted and I treat people kindly. I try to be kind on here and try to listen to others because I have a healthy relationship with that content. That's just my thought. Let me know what you think in the comments. And that's gonna do it for today's episode. This is fucking hefty, that completionist story. Oof. Once again, thank you guys for watching. It has been a crazy year. I can't wait wait to recap it all with you for Freestyle of the Year. Quick side note, we're going to be moving Let 'Em Cook, our video game and FGC podcast, to this channel very, very soon. So I want you guys to look out for that. And I'll have news on the Spotify stuff on our first recap then. It's good news. But anyway, my name is Zaid Tabani. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Let's go!